Hi, welcome to another episode of the Blender 2.9 beginner tutorial series. In this tutorial, we are going to look at how we will use the primitive shapes to model basic objects around us and add some basic materials to it. So stick with me. Please, if you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe, and if you like the video, give me a thumbs up as it will really add value to my channel. Thank you. So the first object we will model will be this table. This basic table, you see, it's just a plain surface, which is just either a plane or a rectangle, and these rectangular legs. So this is what we will model first. Let's see how we go about it. So with Blender, this is the editor type. Like I said, as we move forward, some things that didn't come up, I will bring them up so that you understand them really well. This is the editor type. You can choose whatever editor that you want. We have the 3D viewports, the image editor, and a lot. Texture, coordinate, compositor, shader editor, is a whole lot of them. So we will make a new space here. Like I said, you put the arrow cursor around this rounded corner and you drag to the bottom. You can create another line. And when we choose the editor type, you can choose image editor, so that we will bring the table that we want to model in as a reference image. So I'll bring my table here. I'll just drag and drop it here, and you see the table is here, so we can just look at it as we work. So first, I'm going to delete everything we have in the scene with X. I'll select them with A and hit X to delete all of them, and we will start afresh. So press 1 for the front orthographic, and we know we are in the front orthographic. Shift A to bring, like I said, this is a plane top and it's a rectangle, so Shift A to bring the add menu. We have a plane, we have a cube, which can both serve the purpose, but let's start with plane so that we can extrude our way out. So this is a plane. Let me enable the screencast key so that you see everything that I press, in case you miss them. So you can look at the bottom left corner and see the screencast. It's just an add-on for Blender to see the keys that I press. Okay, and let me enable my gizmo keys, the move gizmo keys. Okay, so this is a plane. If you want to scale it, it's a rectangular table, so obviously it's horizontally it will be wider than the other face. So S and X direction to scale it a bit. So you see we almost have the shape. So S and Y. You hold the middle mouse to orbit around, remember. Okay, so this is what we have now. So we tab into edit mode. Hit tab to enter into edit mode, and we can select the faces. The shortcut is 3, or you can likewise come and press here. We have face. It was on the vertices menu, so only vertices that you can select, but we want to work fast, so we will use the face select so that you can select all the planes. So in this, you see we have some thickness here. You can check your table, there is some thickness. You just extrude up. E for extrude, and you see we have our thickness already. Remember, E for extrude, or you can come to this, you can come here and extrude region, but we want to work fast and smart at the same time, so we use the shortcut key. So E to extrude. After extrusion, since the face is still selected, you can just use the move keys to increase the size as to a desired result. Okay, now we have the countertop. Let's see how we can add the legs. The legs too are basically rectangles, and you can see there are some blockages here. So let's see how we can go about it. Control R. I told you the last time that if you want to add a loop cut, if you want to add some other geometries to a plane, you hit Control R. You can add another one. When you scroll your mouse button up, you can increase or reduce it by scrolling the mouse button. So this time, we will choose only 2 and we will leave it there. And we will scale these 2 on the X-axis. So X, X, and we scale out so that we get something like this. Let's do the same thing. Control R, and you scroll on the middle mouse button to get double loop cuts. You click and you right click so that you confirm the shape. So we scale again, S, X, and you see this is what we have now. We will do the same thing on the horizontal surface. Control R2, confirm. So this time it's going in the Y direction, so S, Y, and we move in the Y direction. Let's do the same thing. Control R and press the middle mouse, scroll the middle mouse button to add another segment. Left click and right click to confirm the position. S, Y, and we just scale it out so that we confirm the position we want. And now when we choose the face select and we hit here, you see we have 1, hold shift to select another face, 2, we are having double faces for some reason. Let me check. Something is happening. We are having double faces. Let me check. Did I do something? G. For some reason, we are having double faces. Okay, so I paused the video for a second to check what went wrong, and mistakenly I extruded another face and left it there, so we had the double face. So if you encounter a mistake like that, know that that's how you go about it. So I just went back and deleted it. So if you check, it's now one face. I'll Control Z to go back and add the loop cut again. Control R and scale on the y-axis. We do the same thing again. Control R. Scroll on the middle mouse button. Left click and right click to confirm. S, Y, and reposition it. Okay. Now we are back again. So select the F, select faces. So let's select these faces. Okay. Now you can see these faces that we've selected. We can now extrude them to get these legs shapes. But to do it right, let's select the bottom. The top one I was just demonstrating so that you understand. So I select these 4 faces with shift and extrude on the Z axis downwards. E, X, and you see press 1 on the numpad to go to the front orthographic, and you see you can check the length where you want to go. So let's say I want it here. So you see we have a table now. When you go back to the object mode, this is what we have now. This is a very nice table, and it's almost like what we have here. So we have some extensions at the bottom here. You can check this boss. So let's see how we will go about that one too. We can select this faces, select this one, select this, and select this, and extrude them downwards. Extrude, and voila, we have our table. Is it not looking the same thing? We have a table. So for your start, look at tables around you and see the shapes and see how best you can go about it. You see how within some few minutes we got this table. And when you make mistake, just go back and check on how the mistake happened. I think you will do great. Okay. And we will add some basic materials to it, but let's model another thing. I will select this table and push it aside, and I will bring another thing. Okay. I have this. For some reason, Blender doesn't allow me to bring it. Let me pause the video for a second. Okay, so in order for you to understand how to bring an image another way, you can click here to remove this image. Go to open and locate where your images are. It's rather unfortunate. I've hidden mine, but we will find it. Okay. When you come here, okay, we have set. So let's bring what else? Let's bring this chair. You see the chair is in Blender now. So that's another way to bring an image to Blender. If you can't drag and drop, you just click here to open the image and just follow the instructions. Okay, so this is a chair, and analyzing it is the same rectangles, but just that they are individual palettes. So let's see how we go about it. So in Blender, Shift A, let me try with a cube so that you understand. Okay, so this is the cube. So I press S and Z so that I will scale it on the Z axis. When I press period on the number pad key, it will zoom on the object. You see, it's zooming on the object so that I can rotate around only the object. Okay, so you see we have these small rectangles. That's the surface where we sit on. So I'll just S and X and scale it. Okay, that's a way of going around it. We have different ways of working in Blender. So Or no, I won't do it like this. Let me scale it again, SX, and scale it like this, so that it's an opportunity to show the other keys, other tools. So we have this one, and with the leg we will start with another object, or we can duplicate this one. So Shift D and leave it there and bring it downwards a bit. So we will scale this one down. You can scale it down like this. Push it to the bottom. Bring it here. Okay. So now we can just go into edit mode. Edit mode, select this face and just push it down. You see we have one leg. But here the legs of the chair looks big, so we just select all with A and just scale it down a little. Or we scale it, and if you want to eliminate the Z, we can scale it on only Z, X and Y axis, excluding the Z. So if you want to exclude an axis from scaling or rotating or whatever, you just have to press Shift. So we have Shift and add that axis. So this one I'm excluding Z, so I'll press S and Shift Z, so it will constrain it only to the X and Y axis, excluding the Z. You see, if I scale it normally, it will be like this, but excluding the Z axis, I will press S, Shift Z to exclude the Z axis, and you see it's constrained only to the X and Y axis. So this is what we have now. Okay, so I'll go ahead and bring the bottom leg down a little. And this also presents a very good opportunity for me to talk about modifiers. In Blender, we have modifiers. When you come to the Range tab here, modifiers property. A modifier is a property that you add to an object so that it will not make the scene so heavy. It will enhance your work and make things so very fluid. You see as I work. So with this one, if I say I can duplicate this with Shift D and press Y and bring this one here, you see, and duplicate this one, Shift D and press X and bring press Shift D, X and bring it here, and another Shift D and Y and bring it here. But we have, like I said, we are working smart and fast at the same time, so I'll delete them and we'll use another approach. Okay, so I'll delete these ones. Delete this one too. No, I'll delete this one rather. And we will add a modifier. We will add a modifier called the array modifier. When we come to the Range tab, let me select the object again. You come to the Range tab, you see you have the add modifiers. You pick an array, the first one. It will add the same object, but it won't register as, you see it's added another object here. But let me reduce the size here. Yes, we have 2 counts and it's on the X factor, and remember this is the X coordinate. So when I increase the factor X, you see that it's moving it here. And remember, it's just one object which have the array. So just one if I select this one, it will select all of them. Okay, we have the Y. So let's see if you can add Y, another Y. So let me push the X here. So now we have this one, these 2, and we can add another array. Add another array to this one, this same modifier. Add another array modifier. And with this one, we won't go on the X factor but rather Y. So we press 0 here so that it will take it to the old origin, and we push it on the Y axis. So you see, let me bring it back a little. So you see, this is how the array works. Let me push it in a little. So This is how an array works. Remember, it's just one object with two array modifiers. So if I delete this with X, everything will go. Let me press Ctrl Z to bring them back. It's just one object with an array modifier. An array is duplicating everything. Okay. So we have the back where we rest our back. And we didn't look at it well. These ones, the back ones are very straight. It's not part of this. So in order to break this array modifier, the second array, we will have to apply it. So you come here. It's non-destructive unless you apply it. So if I apply this array modifier, the second one, you see it's shifted because I didn't set something called I didn't apply the rotation, location, and the scale. Okay, I think it's too early for that location, rotation, and scale. So I'll rather delete this, the second, Ctrl Z to bring the array back and remove it completely. So I've removed it completely. Later I'll explain what it means to apply the location, rotation, and the scale. It works with the origin. And yes, so I'll add another object here. Or I can duplicate this one with Shift D and Y. And remember, because it's having the array modifier on it already, when I duplicated, it also came with an array modifier. It's different from this one now. I duplicated this one, so it's two instances. So you see we have cube 001 here, and we have cube 002. It's a duplicate of this one. So with this one, I can just, considering the chair, the thing is at the back of where we sit, so I'll just bring it back a little like this. Go into object mode. Since it's an array, we will just have to edit one part and the rest will just take part. So this is what we have now. I'll just go back to object mode and bring it in a little. So you see we have our chair now. We almost have our chair. I'll scale this one in. S Shift Z to exclude the Z axis. Okay. So let me press 1 and reposition everything well. Okay. So this is our chair. Let me push this one inside a little. So this is our chair now. It's misbehaving. I don't know. Let me bring this face forward so that it covers the fronts there. So let's say this is our chair now. You get the process. So I've talked about modifier and duplication. So I said the modifier, you add it to an object so that you effect it non-destructively. In other programs, some call it effectors, but in Blender it's called modifier. It's very non-destructive. It's a very good way of working, so that your geometries won't kill your computer. Okay, so we almost have our chair now. So let's see. And you see we have some breakages here. Let's see how we'll go about that one. We take the seat, tap to go into edit mode. It seems the screencast is not working. Let me re-enable it. Okay, we have it now. So you see we have 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. So let's Control R to add 1, 2, so that we have 4 segments. Left click and right click to confirm. So you see we have 1, 2, 3. And when I talked about bevel in the previous video, I talked about bevel. So bevel means okay, let me demonstrate. You really understand. So Control B, or you can come here to bevel, and you see the shortcut is Control B. So watch as I demonstrate. Control B, and you see that it's duplicating the line that was there. Okay, and with this Control B, we can press I to insert. In the previous video, we talked about insects. We talked about all these tools and how we can work with them. So if you missed that video, go back to watch it so that you can understand what we are doing very well. So when I press I, it will insert another face. Let me zoom in for you to see. You see, it's inserted it. You see, and when you press S, it will just add some ridges to the holes that we inserted in. And when you go back to object mode, you see we have some lines and we have our segments. Can you see? We have our segment here, just like what we have here. When we apply materials, you understand it better. And this is also an opportunity. Let me introduce Matte Cap. Matte Cap is a temporal shader that you add to an object so that you see things in a more colorful way and you understand things better. So you come here, to click this arrow and you select a Matte Cap, choose Matte Cap, select it and choose any one you want. So we can choose this one, and you see when I chose it, you see the edges. Yes, you see the edges, the same thing. So that's how it is. This is Matte Cap. It's when you render, this won't come. This is not the color. It's just showing you in the viewport display that, so that you can see your work very well. So let's stick with this Matte Cap, or you can equally change it and choose different ones if you so desire. I'll rather go for this. Yes. So we have this back plate, back where we rest our back. Let's see how go. So what do you think? With this, we will just add these rectangular shapes. We just fill this place with two rectangular shapes and add these ones in it, and we are gone. And you see this place is curved a little, so we will do all of that. So let me press Shift A and bring another. Remember, we are in object mode, so it's not part of this mesh. So Shift A, and we will add. Let's add plane. Okay, let's scale it let's scale it down and scale it on the S axis, this axis. So SX. Okay, bring it up a bit so that we will see it very well. Okay, so we will rotate it on the X axis, RX on 90. Let me go back and you see RX. Watch here, watch this line. You see, as I'm rotating, it's showing you which ones you watch. So I can 90.83. So let me type 90, and you see I got a perfect 90 degrees rotation. So I'll just let me hit 1, enter into front orthographic. Let me hit 3 so that I can bring it back. 3 is right orthographic, so that I can just bring it in like this, and it is inside. So I just X-axis to push it in a bit and enter into edit mode so that we can extrude the face forward a bit too, and push it backwards a little. You see, we have 1. So let's push this one top and duplicate this. We can duplicate it in edit mode or in object mode. We've done it in object mode, so now let's duplicate things in edit mode. So I'll tab into edit mode and select A to select everything, and Shift D and Z so that we constrain it to the Z axis, and you see we have it. And if you look here, you see that it is tapered a little. So this is our basic approach that we will do to get that shape. So remember, Control R to add loops to it. So let's add about 4 loops here. And we have proportional editing. Like I told you, as we go forward, we will unlock the tools one by one like we are playing the video games. So stay with me, follow up. If you missed anything or if you don't understand, watch the previous tutorial as I explain the basic materials and basic tools more in depth. But as we go forward, I'll try as much as possible to bring back those that we learned so that you can follow along too. But I really recommend you go back and watch those previous videos. Okay, so we have, when you hover your mouse, you see we have proportional editing and shortcut is O, and we have snapping, the magnet tab here. Shortcut is Shift tab. So for now we are using the shortcut O for proportional editing. I'm explaining the proportional editing. So I'll select a face rather, and select just this face and scale it, or okay, I'll grab it rather in the Z direction. So watch me, G and Z alone, and you see how the thing is scaling. It's curving it. It's really curving it. And if I scroll the mouse inside, you see how it's working. You can scroll the middle mouse button to affect the fall off. So you see, I can increase it and it. So I think this is what we want. So I can just go back to object mode and just bring it down. But if I bring it down, this one come too much down. So I'll tap back into edit mode. Select one face and hit Ctrl L to select link. Look down here, we have select link. Ctrl L. I select just one face and hit Ctrl L. Otherwise, you can just hover the mouse on it and press L to select everything linked to this particular object. This is also part, but if I select all, it will select both this and this, but I want to select only this one, so I'll press L to select this one, or I'll select a face and press Ctrl L. Okay, and I'll just push it upwards a bit. And you see, we still have our proportional editing on. I'll turn it off as we don't need it in this context. Okay, and I'll bring it up a little. And when we go, you see we have our back, and it's looking really nice, and it's almost like a chair. Okay, so I'll select this object, tab into edit mode, and this one that we already selected with L, I'll duplicate it with Shift D. When I duplicate with Shift D, mind you, it's still here, but I want to, it's part of this one's now. Now it's all in one object, but I want this one alone. So I'll select only this one again with letter L and press P. If I press P, P is for separation, or if I come to select, and let's see, where is this thing found? Okay, we are not seeing it. We will catch it later. No, it will be here. Separate, select. It's mesh, separate by selection, and the shortcut is P. So we press P, and you see, it will give you options, separate by selection. So this selection, if I hit separate by selection, now if I go back into object mode and I select this, it's no more part. You see, it's no more part. It's now a standalone object. So I'll just rotate this one on the y-axis 90, RY90, and scale it on the z-axis SZ, and scale it small so that you can just push it in like this, and the faces are overlapping. That's why you are seeing those double faces. I'll push it backwards a little. For the back, we won't see, but we can even delete the back, and we just duplicate this with Shift D and move on the x-axis, and this is where we are now. Shift D, x-axis. It's having 3, but it's having 1, 2, 3, 4, but ours is 3, and you still get the idea. So I think we can move on. And with the bottom, we have some ridges here. So I can equally duplicate any of these ones. Shift D and bring it down, Z, and rotate it on the y-axis so that it lines horizontally. So let me press 1 to go into the front orthographic, and R90. Okay, so, and I'll scale it on the x-axis. But you see, with this one, the origin comes here. We don't want that, so we will set the origin. So when you right click, you see we have set origin. We have geometry to origin. We have origin to geometry. We have origin to 3D cursor. I explained this in the previous tutorial, but I'll do it again. When you set the geometry to geometry, the origin to geometry, the origin will rather come to the object. But if it was the geometry to origin, the object would have come to the geometry, and it's almost the same thing. So let's continue S, X, and scale it inward so that to just fill the place. Okay, so just bring it down a little. Oh, it's not like that. Okay, so let's scale it back again in the 90 degrees on y-axis, on z-axis, so r z 90. Yes, and we'll just push it here. Since it's this part rather, let's press 3. And if you want to look at it in the other face, you press Ctrl 3 so that it will bring you here, but it's almost the same, so you don't see the difference. So S Y and increase the size so that you just fill it there and push it in so that that place is covered. And you can do the same thing, just Shift D X and just push it in this one. So you see we have that one, and there is another bar line at the bottom here, so we just Shift D, bring it in the middle a little, and R, and rotate it R on the Z axis and 90. So okay, so it's lying flat, so we still rotate it on the X axis to RX 90. Yes, and we just scale it inwards on the X axis a bit, SX, scale it inwards like this. It seems SX again, and okay, I think we are doing fine now. So now you see the chair is almost like this chair, so that's how we go about it. I think you've learned a lot this time. Let's see another shape. Let's use another object. So I can put my mouse here, hold the middle mouse button and just drag, and it will reveal all those that was already inside. You see, so practice. Put your mouse here and hold the middle mouse button and just drag it, and it will reveal the place. Just let me close this, open again, go back to where I got my where are you? Okay, and let's choose a very basic shape. Okay, this is unique. We have this one. This is a bowl or a pan, or however you will call it. Okay, so this we have this one. They are now separate shapes, but we will have to add them so that it become one shape like this one. So watch carefully. I will select everything here. You can box select this. Just left click and just select everything. Make sure everything is selected. Press G to confirm whether everything is selected. Okay, and hit Ctrl J. And this happens, I did it intentionally because I wanted to demonstrate something. Because we had an array on certain parts, that's why the arrays got lost. So let's bring it back. Ctrl Z to bring them back. So you have to apply all the arrays. When you go to the modifier, you see you have applied the array. And where else do we have array? Okay, this one. We have to apply it. I think that's all the arrays that we have. Okay, now we will go again. Ctrl J, and now everything is just one object. If you go into tab into object mode, edit mode, you see everything is now one object. So this is where we are now. I'll just push this one forward, and we have our bow here. So you see this bow, analyzing it is just cylinder that has been scaled on the top side. Okay, so let's try Shift A. Let's add a cylinder, or we can add a circle. We'll try both of them. So a cylinder. This is a cylinder. Okay, and when we brought the cylinder, you see we have some options at the last action. We can reduce the vertices as to however we want. We can reduce the radius. You see, we can reduce the depth. So let's keep it this way since it's a very short bow. And when I click anywhere, the last action will go. Okay, so let's tab into edit mode. Let's see how we go about it. This place, the bottom is tapered inwards. So let's see. I'll choose the edge select mode. Left click to alt and left click to select all the edge loops around the bottom. Remember, alt and select any of it and it will select the loop. Make sure you don't select this one. select the edge loops at the bottom. Okay, and let's scale it inwards, S, and just scale it inwards like this. Just press S and scale it inwards. You see, we almost have the bow, and the top is tapered, but this ours will look a bit longer, so we just choose this face and just bring it inside like this. Okay, so we almost have a bow, but it's empty, it's not covered, so we have to delete our face with X and faces. So now we have an empty, and as you can see, this place has been extruded and extruded again. So let's see, press Alt, hold Alt and press this to get the edge ring. Okay, and we have to extrude, E to extrude, right click to leave it there, and press X to scale it outwards like this. Good. So you see, we almost have it there. Another E to extrude, leave it there and bring it downwards, and you see we have our bow. It's almost the same thing. Let's choose a different matte cap. Let's see if we can get almost similar one. Okay, see, this is the bow we have now, but ours look a bit too, I don't know how to say it, but you see we have some ridges, and this is a very smooth object. So you right click, you get some options on the object context menu. You see you have shade smooth. Let's see, when I shade smooth, this is what we got, but it doesn't look like this bow even though it is smooth. So another opportunity to introduce another modifier, which is the subdivision surface modifier, which you will use 92% of your 3D modeling course journey. So choose this modifier, and yeah, it's spoiled the thing. Don't panic, we'll fix it right now. Tap back into edit mode. You see we still have the original shape, but just that it's not having too much supporting loops. That's why. So we can press Ctrl R to add another loop just to support the bottom, and you see it's almost like what we want. We can do the same thing upwards here. We can just bring it here, and we can do the same thing inwards like this. Ctrl R. You can even make a double loop by scrolling the middle mouse button and just leaving it there. You see, we almost have the bow now. And the bottom, a smarter way to do it, you can just select the face, select this place and hit I to insert the face, and let's go back to object mode and see. Voila, this is our bow now. Simple. It's the same thing. You see how we went about it. We chose a cylinder, we extruded it, and the new thing we added was a subdivision surface, and this is where we are now. Really, really nice. You've really done well if you are following. Okay, so I'll push this one aside, and we will tackle our last object because the recording is almost going too far. I didn't plan to do it. I thought I could do a shorter one, but forgive me. Okay, so we have this object now. So let's bring another one. Let's see. I have a bottle, which is also initial. Let me close this, open, and choose a bottle. Which one are we going for? This one looks complex. No, this one looks more complex. So let's choose this one. Okay, so we have the bottle here. And analyzing the bottle, you see we have just a cylinder, scaled inside, extruded and scaled inside, extruded again, extruded and scaled inside again, and it's almost the same like this one. So Shift A, this time we will use a circle rather, and we see we can choose nothing, or yes, let's choose nothing, not angle or triangular face, and 32 versus is okay. So let me select everything with A and press 1 for front orthographic and E to extrude upwards. No, it wasn't selected. Okay, the faces were selected. Let me select edges and select, or press 1 for the front orthographic, E to extrude upwards like this, and you see it's way bigger. So let me destroy it, Ctrl Z to go back, and select everything and just scale it inwards like this. Yes, press the numpad, period key on the numpad or dot on the numpad to scale inwards so that you can scale around the object. So E and Z, you see. Okay, so we have this one, EZ. Let me push it, and the place is tapered in, so you have to extrude again and scale it inwards. So E again on the Z axis, remember, and scale S to scale it in like this. Okay, E again, constrain to the Z axis and leave it here like this. But this place, the distance ours is too much, so you go inside, Alt select this ring so that it will select all the edge ring around it and just bring it down like this. Okay, so now it's almost the same. You can do the same thing here. Select and just bring this one down. Okay, or we can increase this place. It seems it's bigger, so S. Very good. So we have this one now. So Alt select this edge ring. You see, when I press this place, it selected the ring here rather. So be careful there. So select Alt, select this ring, and just extrude it on the Z axis like this. And you can just scale it in like this, and you see we have our bottle there. It's almost the same thing. And with the cap, with the where did our thing go? Okay, with the top, it looks a bit tricky, but it's very simple. So E, you can just right click to confirm and leave it there. S, and just scale it inside, and we can just E again and Z, and we can just scale it inside like this. You see we are almost there. And let me see. Okay, so we can just extrude E again on the Z axis, very small, and E again, Z axis, and scale this one outwards, scale like this, and E again, Z axis. And now it's up to us to see how we will fill it. So I'll just E, left click to confirm, S, scale it inwards rather, and E, leave it there and just scale it, move it inwards like this a little. So you see we almost have our bottle. It's almost the same. It's almost the same now when you go to the edit object mode. So let's fill the bottom. Alt select everything here and press F, which will fill it. Go to the edit mode. We have preferences. I've not talked about it. We'll talk more about it later. And go to add-ons. Choose add-ons. Just follow my steps and type the F2 key. F2, and just check this bottom and just close it. That's all. And hit F to close this bottom. But this place will be more tricky because let's add our smoothing and see. Okay, we smoothed it and it's looking weird. So let's see if we can add our subdivision surface. So add modifier. Remember the wrench tab. Add modifier, subdivision surface, and we have this one. So let's go into edit mode and start adding our support loops. So Control R down here to bring it here. Control R, confirm, and push it here. Control R, left click to confirm, bring it down here. We are just supporting the loops on the edges. So it seems we have a bigger one here. So Control R, just push it inside and you see, yes. And you can do the same thing, Control R, and bring it here. And same as the top, Control R and push it in. So you can press the numpad on the period key on the numpad to move forward like this so that you can get a better view. Just push it forward a little. Let's push it forward. Control R again. Just bring it down here so that you squeeze this very part here like the bottle. We'll skip this. Let me check. Okay, yes, it's almost the same thing. And same as this place, Control R. You can choose 2 here and just leave it there. And this place, we can tighten this place to with Control R and just tighten here. Add another one. Okay, so this is what we have now. And it almost looks like the bottle, but this part is a bit wider. So we just have to Alt select this edge ring, not that one, this edge ring, and just scale it outwards a bit. And go and check, you see, we have it. It's really nice. The same thing applies here. This very middle looks a bit bigger, so we just add Control R to add another one here. Just scale it outwards a bit, just a little, and you see we have it here. We have it like this. And the bottom, like we did on the other object, you just hit I and we just scale it in, and you see everything looks nice. And this is our bottle, looking perfect. So this is where we are now. Okay, the tutorial is going a bit longer, so I'll leave it here and we will add basic materials like I said. The introduction to basic materials, not textures, materials. So when you want to add material to an object, you just, let me leave this matte cap and just go into the flat shading. Yes. And this is a material preview, you see. So let me select this object. When you come here, when you hover your mouse here, you see we have material properties. Over it here, you see material properties, and you have to, in Blender, you have to click add new. When you add new, you get the principal shader at the spot. It's a shader. We will talk about shaders later, but this is a shader, and we have the base color. So you just select a base color and choose whichever color that you want. But we are not seeing it because we are in the 3D. We are in the viewport shading. So when we go to material preview, you see our table is here. We added this color. We can just change the color and it will just take place. So let's choose our blue color. Let's add the same color to a chair. So you come new and just select the base color. You add whatever color that you want. And let's put our bow. You see the bow is having the origin here, so let's select it, right click and set the origin to the geometry so that it will come here. And let's put our bow on our table to be nice. So it's too big, so you should press S to scale it. Yes, just put it on our table like this, just to decorate it. And let's put our chair behind the table. Can decorate it however you want, and you can add more objects and post it to the HBT Digital Blender group on Facebook. Make sure you do that. Post it there for reviews, and whatever questions that you have, you can leave it in the comment below. And please, if you have not subscribed, subscribe. As you know, I always say it really will add value to my channel. Let me push this forward a bit. Okay, so we should have added cap, but we have a bottle, so no problem. So let's add a material, and you can choose what color should we choose. You choose red. Okay, let's use red color. Okay, and we have our bottle here, so let's bring the bottle. Bottle is bigger than our table. So let's scale the bottle downwards and just bring it up so that it's lying on the table, and just bring it here. So let me push the bow here and the bottle. We can just maintain the white color. Okay, so now congratulations. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up and share this video to whoever wants to learn Blender or 3D. You see how fast we model these things and how fast you are learning. So practice it around whatever you see and post your results in the Blender 3D HBT Digital Blender 3D group on Facebook. Search for it and just post your works in HBT Digital Blender group. Search it on Facebook and just post your works there for review. Alright, so I think this brings us to the end of the tutorial. Subscribe and wait for the next episode, the next part, as this is a full Blender series that from beginner to expert. By the end of the course, you will learn how to model real life objects and how to make objects for gaming assets, and you can sell your models online and you can make very serious animations of yourself, and you'll really be satisfied and you will never regret taking this course, this free course on YouTube. Share it to your friends and okay, peace out.